Hello there, this is all to do with the croquembouche today, and what I'm going to show you is pretty much 7 stages of making a croquembouche. Croquembouche is generally used at French weddings, and it's a highly prized piece of pastry. It's generally filled with a crème pâtissier, but the crème pâtissier can be flavoured in all sorts. You can flavour with chocolate, orange, liqueurs, anything you like really, and it's generally dipped and finished off with caramel. But today what I'm going to do is actually dip it in chocolate, simply because we English love chocolate, and the simple fact is it's a damn sight easier to make than the caramelised one. But in a future edition I'll probably do the caramelised one as well, so you can see that. But today we're going to do croquembouche. It's going to have 7 stages. It's going to be decorated with proper chocolate, not the baker's chocolate, not the stuff that you really dislike, but it's the real nice, sharp, shiny, crunchy chocolate. It's going to be filled with an orange and chocolate crème pâtissier, and it's going to be decorated with chocolate roses, but modelling roses, and all the way down. And at the end of that, hopefully we'll have a chocolate croquembouche. Okay, the first stage in the croquembouche, for this stage anyway, is making the chocolate modelling paste. And for that you need decent chocolate. It could be dark chocolate, it could be white chocolate, it could be milk chocolate, whatever you want to do. And it's a simple recipe. You weigh off your chocolate to how much you think you're going to need, and I think I'm going to need about that. So, take your chocolate, pop a pan onto the heat, warm it up. As soon as that's boiled, put your chocolate straight into there, in a pan, in a doubling pan, and just melt it off. It needs to be about 40 degrees centigrade. Once you've got that there, simply because you've got your chocolate already, I've forgotten what it was, you need half the amount of liquid glucose. You can buy that anywhere. So once that's boiled, pop the chocolate in, and then I'm going to warm the liquid glucose up in the microwave just for a few seconds, so that becomes the same temperature as that. And then I'm going to stir the two together very gently, not whisk it up because it'll separate. Once I stir it very gently, I'll then put it into a plastic bag and just leave it to cool down. Once it's cooled sufficiently enough, it's then pliable to be made into anything that you want. So the water's now boiling. Once it's started to come to the boil, just take it off. You've got enough heat there to melt your chocolate. If it's too hot, you'll burn your chocolate and it'll go into very powdery, and it'll separate, the fat will separate out. So just leave that there gently. You could do it in the microwave. You could pop it into the microwave and do it in there, as long as you know your microwave. Thing is not to get it too hot. And then that'll melt off. As soon as that comes out, I'll pop that in, melt it off to the same temperature, and then just literally pour it in and pop it into a plastic bag. The chocolate's now melted off. There's no more lumps left into it, so I'll take that out. It'll retain its heat for quite a long time, simply because it's quite dense. I'm going to use a handful of chocolate into this. Once it's boiled, I'm just going to take it off, put the handful of chocolate in to just get it to the colour that I want to get it to. This is warm. Just stick your finger in it. If it feels slightly warm to the touch, then obviously it's above 37. Take your melted chocolate, take your glucose, pour your glucose into it. And then just fold it in, ever so carefully. Don't try and beat it up, just fold it. If I started beating this up now, the whole thing separates and it just pretty much goes in the bin.
Looks very nice.
And that's it. It looks as though it's splitting, but if I continue to mix it, it would split and it'd be a bin job. So what I can do with this now, pop it into a plastic bag. The reason why it goes into plastic is if you leave it out, it'll simply go.
Is that to stop the air getting at it?
Well, it'll just go hard, yeah. And it'll go dry.
Okay.
I think that's as much as I need. And as I said, you can do this with white chocolate, you can do it with milk chocolate. If you do it with things like white chocolate, you've just got to be aware that white chocolate is mainly fat and milk crumb. So consequently it's quite soft to use. I'll leave that for later. And then there's your plastic chocolate. Just crimp the top and set it to one side.